How's it going, friends? Hey, I'm talking to you guys who are agents, who are business owners, who are just our friends. I have something on my mind I want to talk to you guys about today, and that is having a mental block, and how that's affecting your business, your relationships, and your decision making. Okay, so I run into this all the time because we work with people, and everybody has mental blocks. I don't care how advanced and brilliant you are. We all have mental blocks. I do. Blanca does, and this is something that we constantly have to watch out for, because when the truth comes in and better ideas and proof and things that can be done better, we don't want to be stuck in a mindset that keeps us from moving forward. So today I want to go over one kind of funny story, but then I want to go over a few things in business and real estate where we help people get out of mental blocks. Okay? So I'm kind of copying Blanca's little tip Tuesday here, but I'm doing it on a random day. So don't quote me on what day this is going to be. And so the first story I want to tell you about is today we literally were playing a game of pickleball at Lifetime Fitness. It was a bunch of people that were, they were above, 60 years old and above. Maybe there was a guy in there that was 50. And it was me and this other older gentleman. He was in his 70s. He was good though, but I think his memory was kind of gone, because I'll tell you later what happened. And it was me playing against Blanca and another lady who I didn't really know. And this was literally my fourth time playing pickleball. So I'm always hey, what did I do wrong? Okay, great. I'm not one to argue about anything in the game. If it's out of bounds, I'm not going to argue, even if I thought it might be in, or what it was. I'm a pretty fair guy. I've been playing sports since I was about 5 years old. So I've been on many teams, and I'm not one to just argue about stuff. But something happened during this game that I just wasn't going to keep my mouth shut about, because in sports, you should be able to bicker back and forth a little bit if there's something that's not fair. So what happened was, for those of you who don't know, pickleball, when you're serving, you are going to be making the points, okay? So I was serving, and I called the score incorrectly. I called it 8, we had 8 and they had 6, which we actually had 6, and Blanca's team had 8. So I was oh, yeah. No, I just said 8-6, but I was no big deal. I know what's going on. So I served it. They accidentally didn't receive it. They knocked it out of bounds. I moved over, so I had to switch sides with my partner. I served it again. They knocked it out of bounds again, so we scored 2. Now it was 8-8 because I just scored 2 points. I'm still serving. So I go over again. I'm going to go try to get my 9th point when Blanca's teammate stopped me, and she's like, "What are you talking about? It's not 8-8. You have 6 and we have 8. You called it wrong." And so then we started just hey, no, well, I know I called it wrong, but the score, we had 6. Now I just scored 2 points. Didn't you see me just score 2 points? You guys just hit it out of bounds. And so we had this back and forth. She could not continue a conversation about what happened, because since I called it wrong, she thought that nothing could go past that point. There was nothing I could explain that could just have a conversation of what happened. And I turned to my partner, I said, "Joe, we just scored 2 points. We have been changing positions now the last 2 times. We just walked past each other and I hit it." I don't know. I don't want to do any, I don't even remember what happened. And so it was I was wow, this lady's stuck in the fact that I didn't say the words 6-8. I said 8-6. She couldn't get past that. So I looked like this bad guy, because Blanca was "Just drop it, Sean, just drop it, because you're too intense." And I'm well, I'm not going to, if you've been playing sports your whole life, you don't just let people just not count your points, okay? Anyone who's played sports with me, I would say a lot of you guys on Facebook know me through sports, and I think I was a pretty good sportsman player. I'm not a scam artist. I don't lie about the score or anything like that, okay? So that woman then got all defensive, and she walked off, and she mumbled to someone, "Oh my God, that guy needs therapy. He needs therapy," right? And I was oh, I didn't even hear that, because I would have said something. But that's just my first story of the day, okay? The other things I want to talk to you guys about is in business, okay? So a lot of times when we work with buyers, they have their set price. So let's say, hey, I'm qualified up to 500,000, but we're going to stick to 350, and we're not going over that price, okay? So we start looking at homes, and maybe they want to find a house in Edina for 350, right? And so what they find in Edina for 350 is like raggedy old like houses that were like rentals and that need like $70,000 worth of repairs. And so then I have to kind of coach them and say, okay, so how long are you gonna stay in the house? Well, probably like 5 years at least. Okay, so 5 years, this house is gonna need minimum $70,000 of repairs. This is Edina. This is not, Crystal, where you can just get by with less. Okay, I'm like, why don't you consider buying something for 400 then? Because I bet you anything we're gonna find a house that's almost turnkey. Well, in 400 in Edina, okay, I know, still not gonna happen, but this is just an example. Up your price range, because if you're willing to take on a house with $50,000, $70,000 worth of repairs, we're gonna talk about actual costs. And so most of my buyers are very intelligent and like, you know what? I haven't thought about actual cost before. I only thought about sticker price. So that was their block, right? So we're helping them get past that. Also, when we talk about sellers, sometimes sellers, they're stuck on like how much commission they're gonna be paying out an agent. And so they shop around town and they find some agent that charges less commission when if they would just do their research, that agent sells most of their properties like way under what they list them for. Where our goal is to make the most for our sellers, and we can prove it statistically, we sell about 105% over our ask price, our list price, okay? And so what we do is we try to coach our sellers to not be stuck on hiring some agent that's just gonna try to make a really quick, easy sale and then expose you for a loss. Other things is we talk to real estate agents all the time, and real estate agents, sometimes they're really comfortable with their broker and they don't want to talk about working with us with what we do at EXP. But I have to tell them like, okay, so let's talk about what's really important to you. Well, I'm on a 0%. I don't pay anything to my broker. I'm on 100% fee-based commission split, and I don't have to pay anything to my broker. And I'm like, okay, oh yeah, you have an 80-20 split and you have these fees over here. But I'm like, well, yeah, but the thing is we've been getting company stock, we've been getting revenue share, we've been getting our admin fee, all that piles together. And just based off of that, we have 3,500 shares of EXP stock. So that's just in 2 years. So if you want to just look up EXPI as a stock ticker with 3,500 shares, you can see what we've accumulated pretty much for free being at EXP in the last 2 years and see how that stacks up against your free brokerage, okay? See, that's what you call a mental block. They're not considering anything else except their little tiny nugget, like it always reminds me of like that little rat on the Ice Age where he's just focused on that the nut, right? It's not that being with another broker is bad, but when you don't even have the mind to just look at it with an open mind, right? And consider like, wow, if I was there, if I would have been invested with you, like you did for the last 2 years, I could have 1,000 shares or 1,500 shares, but can't crack some people's eggs. Other things, politics or just social issues of today, like what's happening with George Floyd. I mean, can't people understand that there's different sides of views on this? Like no matter what, you have to be able to take a step back and see why people are mad in Minneapolis. But you could also say, what's with all the rioting and looting? Like, how could anyone be okay with that? Like, why is it acceptable? Why is it permitted? We have to be able to have an open mind and just like take in information. So guys, I think that's what I wanted to share, just a couple little nuggets. And if you find yourself if you're mentally blocked and you're fighting with your wife a lot, or you're arguing about stuff, even with this political atmosphere, you're going to have to try to, take a step back, maybe try to like not be so argumentative. And when you know you're right and you have the facts, you're gonna have to sometimes stand your ground, okay? Like I did today at pickleball, because the lady was stuck. And so we ended up shaking hands later, but that was a fun day. So guys, hope you're having a great one. Let me know what you think about mental blocks. What do you guys see out there that like people have with mental blocks? Do you experience it a lot, or is it something that's like, what are you talking about, Sean? Okay. All right. Talk to you later, guys.